Welcome everyone, you're watching Kings of Cricket. I'm Shivani Gupta and we have arrived on the day when Virat Kohli has, on his 35th birthday, scored the record equaling 49th ton. And with that, India also scored 326 thanks to his ton, thanks to contributions by many others. Is that going to be enough is one question I'll take forward with our guests in just a bit. But what a performance from Virat Kohli. Again, an understated celebration from him as he hit his 49th ODI ton, equaling the record with the legendary Sachin Tendulkar. And now, of course, fans will be waiting for that record to be extended during this World Cup itself. Joining me in the studio is former India cricketer Murli Karthik. I'm also going to be joined by the likes of Ayaz Memon, Goem Swan, Jimmy Paji is with us, and also Venkatesh Prasad, former India cricketer. Karthik, let me begin with you. This was something which was in, eventuality. It was inevitable, but good to see him play this knock, when things could have been a little bit difficult for India. And seeing through those middle overs was extremely important, as you rightly said in the pre-match show, and he did it to perfection.
Yeah, he did everything to perfection. Actually, when you look at that knock, look, he's been there for so many years and we've seen him string together so many centuries. And the most important thing for someone like him is not to be too mindful of what was ahead of him. That is something which has happened because there was a period of 2 years when he hadn't matched up to the lofty standards which he had set. And that sometimes can get you in a very different stage, which we have heard from him as well. But what he did today was not get that. I think it was very simple, the way he batted from the get-go. He had that luxury of a great start. Both the first 11 overs got 94 and then he got off to a decent start. And then it was not easy in the middle overs. So yeah, just to pace through that innings and play the kind of shots, people can always look at the innings and say, oh, he wasn't getting at run a ball while the others were, but he had to be there. He was the reason or the backbone around which that entire Indian innings functioned or revolved, and the others gave him handy contributions, but a wonderful way to notch up your 49th 100 on your 35th birthday. For certain big people and certain great players, such scripts are written. You always wonder how does Dhoni walk in when India is supposed to do something and he hits that winning six.
Promotes himself up the order in that match, which a lot of people had been wondering why he doesn't do.
Or even in other games. Or there were things which Sachin did on certain days. How does that happen? And similarly for Virat to notch up his 49th on his 35th birthday special day.
Absolutely. Jimmy Paji, I want to come to you. You've been saying this throughout the World Cup, that, this is ODI cricket. This is not T20 cricket. You cannot go slam bam and, hit everything out of the park. Today, it was one of those innings from Virat Kohli, isn't it? Even though India had a flying start, but it was very crucial for him to kind of bide his time also, which he did in the middle overs. And eventually, of course, went on to score his record equaling ton and, 326 for India.
Yeah, happy birthday to Virat and a great performance today and congratulations for his 49th century as well. No, he's a player actually. He's a player. He's a classy player. He's not one of those who like to hit fours and sixes and cross-batted shots and backhand sweep. He's not the kind. He's a technically correct player. He would wait for the right ball to hit. He knows he has time. He can plan it. He runs well. And he is absolutely tremendously fit. So I think that also helps because what happens when you're not 100% or very fit man because you lose concentration when you're the 50s, 60s, especially in this age when you're 35 years old. But his fitness probably is much better than youngsters, I would put it that way. So that keeps him going. And he's hungry for runs. That is great actually with Virat. The hunger is there and he wants to do well. He doesn't want to fail. He knows the whole team depends on him if they want him to bat till the end. And he knows once he bats till the end, he's bound to score 100 and a bigger score. So this is a quality of Virat Kohli. So I think a lot of people can learn from Virat Kohli that how to pace your inning, how to go help your team, and when chips are down or things are difficult, how to go about it. So it's a terrific performance and I think it's a winning score for India.
Jimmy Paji, you said he's very young, younger than most youngsters. So how long do you think he can continue and how many more tons do you think he can make in ODIs?
I think as long as he's playing, he'll be scoring hundreds and hundreds runs, actually. And I think age has nothing to do with you because it's your own passion, your own hunger and how good you're feeling. and how light you're on your feet. That's the key thing as a batsman, because you know that you have the experience. You can read the situation, condition, read the bowlers, everything. But you have to be consistent with your performance, which he has been. So probably the way he's playing, I think he'll go for another 3 to 4 years. This is what I feel.
Absolutely. Venki, I want to come to you as well. Graham Swan is also joining us. He has been, of course, talking about how Virat Kohli is his absolute favourite player. I'll go to Swanee in just a bit, but Venki, your thoughts? And, you know, if you look at that chart of the most centuries in ODI cricket, of course, Virat has now equaled Sachin Tendulkar, but it's also the number of matches in which he has got to that mark. Of course, from the era of players like Sachin Tendulkar and Ricky Ponting, who are also on that table. Sanat Jayasuriya is in the top 5, along with Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. You know, just the number of matches some of the new age cricketers are taking is just much lesser.
Well, honestly, with due respect to the present cricketers, I think the quality of bowling has definitely come down. The standard of bowling has definitely come down. You don't have the Wasim Akrams or Waqar Younis, Alan Donald, or a Sean Pollock, Fanny de Villiers. I mean, the list is endless. But having said that, I don't want to take any credit out of the present cricketers, especially when it comes to Virat Kohli. It's the sheer character that he shows. I mean, today was an example of character, putting your head down when things are difficult. It was not easy pitch to bat, especially against spinners. If you look at it, I think India had a great start, first 10 overs. After that, once Keshav Maharaj was introduced, I think it was turning pretty much square. So you got to put your head down and you got to show a lot of patience and character and occupy the crease. I think that's exactly what Virat Kohli did. He just stayed there, occupied the crease. In fact, from 11th to 30th over, first 10 overs, there was 90 odd runs, 91 runs that were scored. 11th to 30th over, the 20 overs, only 75, 80 runs, I guess. That's all was possible from the Indian batters when Virat Kohli was there on the crease. So that shows the maturity of the player. You've got to give respect to the bowlers, when it's due. I think that's exactly what they did. It was not easy to play shots. So I think he stuck there, and what a knock, what a century on his 35th birthday. This is what everybody was expecting. He missed out on a couple of occasions earlier, but getting it today on his birthday, equaling the great Sachin Tendulkar. It's not just Tendulkar; it's the great Sachin Tendulkar. I should say that. It's not easy at all in such a limited number of innings. I think hats off to Virat.
Yes, absolutely. Let me go around our panel and take everyone's first thoughts on Virat Kohli's achievement. Graham Swan is also with me. Graham, your favorite player, finally, getting his record equaling ton with Sachin Tendulkar. What a huge occasion for him. And as Karthik and, Venki and others have been talking about, when it comes to these once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generational talent, their scripts are written somewhere else. In some heaven, their scripts are written, so he gets it on his 35th birthday today.
Absolutely. I mean, there is only one Virat Kohli, and he's given himself the best birthday present ever today. And those fans in Eden Gardens will love that forevermore. Just going back quickly to the great Sachin Tendulkar, Venki, I agree with you. I think the main reason why it's taken him half as many innings is basically they used, and Murali Karthik said this earlier in the series, they use 2 balls these days. And that makes it 10 times easier to bat. Against that horrible green thing, the colour of this jumper, reverse swinging at 90 miles an hour, Sachin Tendulkar, the great Sachin Tendulkar, will never be surpassed. But Virat Kohli is going to be the closest thing for a generation to get anywhere near him. And that was a pleasure to watch today. After the first 10 overs, I thought, my word, they're going to get 450 here. But as soon as the spin came on, as soon as you saw that turn, I thought, oh, hang on, they're going to struggle to get to 300. So he absolutely had to bat his way through the 50 overs to be the anchor. And people look at his strike rate and look at how many balls and the fact he was not out, and they might question that. That's nonsense. He did what he had to do, and people batted around him. And let's not forget the little gem of a knock played by Jadeja at the end.
Absolutely.
Sir Jadeja, that was brilliant. That just got India that momentum going into the second innings, and I think they're firm favourites now.
Absolutely. I'm going to talk about the others as well as far as their batting cameos are concerned. And Sir Jadeja, as Swanee very rightly mentioned, always comes good. This is why he's so valued in, limited overs cricket, because he really can do the talking with his bat. He's done that on numerous occasions. But I asked, you're the cricket writer, the cricket journalist who's covered, 10 World Cups now? I want to know, what's your headline tomorrow? If you were to write one for Virat Kohli, what are you thinking of about Virat Kohli? What is it that you can say that hasn't been said already?
Well, very little actually, to score a record equaling 49th century on his own birthday, on his 35th birthday. I think, these are scripts written somewhere else. It's beyond our comprehension in that sense. But having said that, we also have to kind of give him credit. He's strived hard for this 100. We know through this World Cup, there have been, I think, at least 4 other occasions where you thought he might get to the landmark. He didn't. And today, it's not as easy as it looks now in hindsight. I think Swanee mentioned about when the spinners coming on and there was this period of uncertainty, 2 wickets had fallen, Shreyas Iyer struggling a bit, even Virat struggling a bit to read the turn and the spin from Shamsi and from Maharaj, and to go through that passage and take on that mantle of playing the anchor. I'll bat out till the end, let Shreyas take keep the tempo going and the momentum going, build it up from there, and then finally take the team to 300 plus. I think the virtuosity of Kohli comes through in this innings. He's not made 49 innings because it's just it's available on a platter. He's had to work very hard. It's taken him 15 years to be there, and I think one has to give him credit for being just so focused and so committed to. This is like a second win after the 3-year barren period that he's had. Yes. He's hit a golden. He's hit a golden phase again, and full marks to him.
Yes, the only thing is that we really want India to be able to capitalize on the forms of the likes of Sharma, on the likes of Gill, Kohli. Iyer did very well. This was a great test for him today. Rahul has been doing well, but, has been a little up and down. You've got the likes of, Shreyas Iyer and others. There's Kai also in amongst runs. Jadeja keeps scoring. So you want to come good. You want to get your hands on an ICC trophy, which India has been missing for 10 years. But let me just read out, Karthik, Kohli's scores. So you've got a 50 against Australia. You've got you've got an 85 against Australia, a 55 against Afghanistan, 103 not out versus Pakistan, Bangladesh, 95 versus New Zealand, and 88 versus Sri Lanka, and now another not out century. It's the consistency with which he's been batting in this tournament.
Yeah, 100%, and that's what he's known for. And Ayaz just touched upon that barren period. Sometimes the best of the lot go through it. There were times where people questioned Sachin, even Rahul. You name them, you name the greats of the game. And it's funny, statistically, you look at any sport, they always say you see more days of failure as a sports person than days of success. And still you're called a great. And that's what Virat is. And absolutely the mantle which he took upon himself. And it's not just, you look at the others as well. Rohit Sharma got out on 40. You can say he was reckless. Shreyas Iyer got out on 77, and this was something which I was mentioning to you off air, that nowadays I just get the feeling that this team are not paying too much attention to milestones, especially in white ball cricket. The 50s and the 100s, do they make any difference? Maybe not. And that's one of the reasons why they're ultra positive. You saw Kane Williamson on 95 yesterday. Just going for it. It's the good old days, they would have knocked 5 singles.
And it would have been acceptable.
Unless and until if you're a Virender Sehwag who doesn't think that way. So guys are thinking very different because you know that when you slow down, you're possibly costing your team 15, 20 runs the way these guys are going. Yeah. So Virat Kohli and the way he has gone, he's driven. So one word which is synonymous of him is driven. And Jimmy said a beautiful word. He is actually a role model, not just for guys who are looking up to him. It's for people who are much older than him. The way he goes about things, the way he prepares, the way he... Today, in that heat and humidity, he didn't break a sweat. He was running twos for his partner. He was running twos for himself. And then he did that interview, which I saw just with my peripheral. There was no sweat. He was not gasping. He was not panting. I am gasping right now talking here. But Virat Kohli didn't break a sweat. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the amount of effort he has put in his fitness is absolutely mind-boggling. But let's also talk about Jimmy Paji, some of the other contributions. You got Rohit Sharma. I mentioned this at the start of the match that, he's been getting those starts. But maybe as Karthik is saying, he's decided that it's not so much about him getting a 50 or a big one. Although if he gets set, he has a tendency to score a big one. He will go for it it, the other people will handle. He has the cushion right now where Gill, Kohli, Shreyas, everybody is in good form. So he doesn't have to be too cautious because that's not Rohit Sharma's game anyways. You've got Shubman Gill there and thereabouts with a 23. Shreyas Iyer with a good hard-fought 77. But then, of course, lost out while accelerating. You've got Surya Kumar Yadav with a 22 of 14. And, of course, Sir Ravindra Jadeja with 26 at the end, which really made this total a little bit better than it would have been, let's say, at 310, then 3 versus 326. Your thoughts on the entire batting lineup, and what do you make of the total, though? Against a batting side like this, on this pitch, on this ground, do you think this is a winnable score?
Yeah, no, I think when you come to Rohit Sharma, I think he's just playing his normal cricket. That's the way he has been batting, and he's going over the top. And sometimes when you get out, it looks ugly. It's not that he played a bad shot. If you see the speed of the shot, probably he didn't get the evolution, but he wanted to hit over mid-off. Because I think the idea was good to come down the wicket and clear mid-off and get another 4 or a 6 and put pressure on the bowler. So all those things, I think they're getting a start, so they're in good nick. But I would still feel, I think everything revolves around Virat Kohli. When you have a solid guy over there who's scoring runs, everybody knows that he can bat till the end, so others can take chances over there.
Yes.
And suppose like in a match like Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli gets out early, then I would like to see how they're going to take the attack to the opposition. Probably it may not happen against a good and solid bowling attack. Probably against weaker side, you can still do it. See, look at the footwork of the other players. They stand deep in the crease and wait for the bowlers to bowl wide. Whether it's Surya Kumar, whether it's Iyer, if you see their technique, and then they swing from there, from far. They don't lean anything up to them. They don't go for it. They don't lean in. It's not that you can score runs at 4s and 6s all the time. This is what they have to learn from Virat Kohli, that okay, runs are not coming. You have to stick around. You have to look for runs. You have to run hard, and then have a partnership building up. And bat till the end. Tomorrow you never know, because if somebody earlier wickets you lose, then you need somebody to bat till the end. Whether they will be able to do it or whether they would just carry on playing in a similar fashion. So that I think when you come to the knockout stages, the real pressure comes over there. It's a one-off game. If you don't do well, you're out. So I think they're in good nick. They're playing well. They're hitting it well. That everything looking good. But I think that the amount of runs they've scored in this inning, the ball is turning. I think all two spinners will play havoc on South African batting.
Absolutely. Swan, South Africa did bring in Shamsi, and that was obviously the right call to make. Even though he went for a few runs, both Maharaj and Shamsi kind of did well to restrict, a little bit of the flow of the Indian innings. How well did you think the South African spinners did? And what is going wrong otherwise with their bowling? Because it did look pretty ordinary.
Yeah, I think that shows what happens on this pitch. With the new ball, that is the time to strike as a batsman. Sometimes the new ball, you have to be wary of it. And on slower pitches that turn, you have to try and cash in against it while it's hard and coming onto the bat. So that's the important part in this innings. I thought the spinners bowled well, particularly Maharaj, because from 91 from the first 10 overs to then only go for 30 from your 10, that was brilliant. And it's often the left-arm finger spinners can do a brilliant role because they come from the angle. The ball's always moving laterally, and the ones that grip makes it very, very hard for a batsman to play without spooning the ball in the air on the offside. So he was brilliant. Shamsi, I think, would be a little bit disappointed that he didn't pick up some wickets, because I thought he bowled nicely. India played him very well. I thought Virat Kohli played him well. So he's ended up being fairly expensive for Miss 10. The trick now for India when they bowl, get away with that new ball, try and pick up a couple of wickets. But when the spinners get on, try and keep taking wickets all the time. Because new men walking into bat on this pitch, that's where that 327 becomes a much bigger total. If you're forever chipping in with wickets, it's very hard to get in. We saw that all the way through the India innings. If two people get set, and they're going to try and take on the spinners on these smaller boundaries. So I think this is a fascinating battle in progress, in prospect, right now, coming up. I'm not going to say which way I think the game's going to go, but I know which way I want the game to go. I want those Indian spinners to take their wickets and win this one.
How are you wearing green and saying this?
I know. You know what? I had a blue jumper on earlier and I spilt some drink on it, so I had to take it off. I do apologize. It's definitely not a South Africa top.
Okay. But Venki, I don't understand. I've been asking Murli Karthik this. I want to ask you this as well. Are all the bowling lineups that, I don't know, poor or underwhelming? Or is the Indian batting lineup making a lot of these bowling lineups look ordinary? What's going on in this World Cup? Yes, Swanee wants to
Swanee,
come
go
in.
ahead.
England only went for 230. Remember that.
Yes.
No.
Barring that, yes.
No,
Right.
it's just that the bowling unit from the other teams, they have not able to read the pitch, assess the pitch, and they are not able to consistently bowl in one areas. In fact, even today, if you look at it, the South African bowlers, they are all quality bowlers, no doubt about it. Whether Engedi or Jansen and Rabada and so on, they're all quality bowlers, but they were either too short or too full. And they were not able to assess the pitch. They didn't know when to use the change of pace and what is the sort of length that they should be looking to bowl when it comes to change of pace and so on and so forth. So in that sense, the Indian bowlers are, far too good, I would say, compared to the other bowling units in this tournament, because they have just kept it simple. This morning also, I said the same thing. They kept it simple. They bowled those test match lines and lengths, bowled on fourth and fifth stump, and good length just back of length. Didn't try much and used the seam extremely well, used the angles extremely well, whether bowling over the stumps or around the stumps. And on top of it, the spinners, the quality spinners, both Kuldeep Yadav and Jadeja. Jadeja especially, he doesn't give any time to the batter. Bowl stump to stump,
Yes.
midland leg, midland off. Doesn't give much of room, doesn't bowl too many short deliveries. And for that matter, Kuldeep Yadav, his variations, his trajectory, usage of angles, and the variation especially. I mean, batters are finding it extremely difficult to pick the wrong ones or the stock delivery. So this is what is going good for Team India.
Yeah. Very quickly, Karthik, what could be the challenge for the Indian bowlers in the second innings?
One would be due if
Yeah.
it does come in. And the second thing is the way the South Africans have been playing against spin. Yes, it is a track which is helping spinners, and they would be praying big time that there is no due at all. If there is no due, and I'm pretty sure Kuldeep Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja will be more than a handful on this track, and also under lights around this time, because the sun sets early, and even when we play first class cricket over there around 4:30 it decks around. So hopefully the Indians would want that to happen, especially in the first 10 overs, because you get rid of Quinton de Kock and some of them up top, it could be a big total. And as I think who was mentioning it on commentary, 300 is a pretty good total on this track.
Pitch. Yeah. Absolutely. I asked, final 30 seconds left. India's got enough on the board?
I would think so. I think maybe they targeted 300. They've gone past that, and as as Karthik mentioned, that spinners, I don't know whether they'll be able to cope as easily as perhaps it wasn't easy for Kohli and Iyer also. It took them a while to get on top of the spinners from South Africa. So I think this is a very, very stiff target for South Africa to overhaul.
All right. Well, if there is a batting lineup that would think that it is right up their sleeve, it is the South African batting lineup. They've been scoring over 300 almost every game. But we'll come right back to that after the South African innings. Our experts will be joining us once again. So stay with us here on CNN News 18. Thanks a lot for watching for now.